How many times have you looked back and thought, I knew it, but you ignored that gut feeling, that instinct, that deep knowing, that little voice inside you? It's not random. It's your most powerful tool, guiding you towards success, protecting you from disaster. But here's the problem. Most people drown it out with doubt, fear, and overthinking. Not today. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 gut instincts you should never ignore, because the difference between an extraordinary life and a life of regret, it's whether you listen to that voice or let fear silence it. Let's go. Your gut instinct is one of the most powerful tools you have, yet so many people ignore it. They rationalize, hesitate, or seek outside validation when, deep down, they already know the answer. The power of intuition isn't some mystical force. It's a highly refined system built from years of experience, subconscious processing, and pattern recognition. It's your brain's way of making lightning-fast decisions based on information you may not even be consciously aware of. The problem is most people don't trust it. Think about it. How many times have you had a feeling that something wasn't right, only to ignore it and later regret it? Or maybe you felt drawn to an opportunity but hesitated, only to watch someone else seize it and succeed. Your gut instinct is like an internal GPS, constantly guiding you. But if you don't pay attention, you risk missing out on opportunities, making costly mistakes, and staying stuck in situations that no longer serve you. Your brain is a supercomputer processing millions of pieces of information every second. But your conscious mind can only handle a fraction of that. That's where intuition comes in. It filters through past experiences, emotions, and external cues, then delivers a feeling or a hunch. Science backs this up. Studies show that intuition is a real, measurable cognitive process. It's why experts in any field, whether it's a seasoned investor, an elite athlete, or a master negotiator, can make split-second decisions that seem almost effortless. Their intuition is honed through years of exposure and experience, allowing them to recognize patterns that others miss. But here's the thing. Intuition isn't just for the elite. It's for everyone. You don't have to be a billionaire entrepreneur or a professional athlete to benefit from trusting your gut. You just have to become more aware of how it works and learn to listen to it. The good news, like any skill, intuition can be trained and strengthened. The more you trust it, the sharper it becomes. The key is to stop dismissing those inner nudges and start recognizing them as valuable data points. The biggest mistake people make is overanalyzing. Logic and reasoning are important, but they can also create doubt, hesitation, and second guessing. Your intuition, on the other hand, is fast and instinctual. That's why, when making decisions, it's crucial to balance both. If you feel an immediate gut reaction, whether it's excitement, unease, or a strong pull in a certain direction, pay attention to it before drowning it in logic and fear-based thinking. The consequences of ignoring your gut can be massive. How many stories have you heard of people saying, I knew I shouldn't have trusted that person, or I had a feeling this deal was bad, but I went through with it anyway? Whether it's relationships, business, or personal decisions, failing to listen to your instincts often leads to regret. On the flip side, when you do trust your gut, things tend to fall into place. You make better choices, avoid unnecessary mistakes, and open doors to opportunities that logic alone wouldn't have led you to. Take, for example, successful entrepreneurs. They don't just rely on spreadsheets and market analysis, they trust their instincts. Steve Jobs didn't have data proving that the iPhone would be a success. Elon Musk didn't have a perfect blueprint guaranteeing Tesla would revolutionize the auto industry. They had a vision, a gut feeling, and the courage to act on it. That's the difference between those who create massive success and those who stay stuck in analysis paralysis. So how do you strengthen your intuition? First, start paying attention to it. The next time you feel a strong gut reaction, whether it's excitement, hesitation, or an unexplained sense of knowing, pause and take it seriously. Journal about it. Reflect on past decisions where your gut was right. The more you acknowledge your intuition, the more reliable it becomes. Second, expose yourself to new experiences. Intuition thrives on experience and knowledge. The more you step out of your comfort zone, the more data your brain collects and the sharper your instincts become. That's why successful people are constantly learning, experimenting, and putting themselves in new situations. They're building an internal database of experiences that fuels their gut decisions. Finally, learn to trust yourself. Fear and doubt will always creep in, but the more you practice making decisions based on intuition, the more confident you'll become. The best opportunities in life don't always come with a clear roadmap. Sometimes you just have to trust that inner voice and take the leap. Your gut instinct is a gift. It's a powerful tool that can guide you to the right decisions, protect you from harm, and lead you to incredible opportunities, but only if you listen. The next time you feel that inner nudge, don't ignore it. Pay attention, trust yourself, and take action. Your future depends on it. There are moments in life when you just know something is right. You can't always explain why, but deep inside, there's a pull, a certainty that this is the path you're meant to take. It might be an opportunity that excites you, a career move that feels like the next step, or even a person you instantly connect with. This gut instinct is one of the most powerful forces guiding you, but too often people ignore it because they overthink, analyze too much, or let fear creep in. Your mind is wired to seek safety and certainty. It wants guarantees before making a move. And that's why most people hesitate, even when everything inside them is screaming, go for it. But success isn't about waiting for certainty. It's about recognizing the signals that tell you when something is aligned and then having the courage to take action. The most successful people in the world have a deep trust in themselves. They don't wait for permission. They don't need every detail to be perfect before they make a decision. They listen to their instincts, and when something feels right, they move. The mistake many people make is allowing doubt to creep in after they've already felt that initial certainty. Have you ever had a moment where you felt an instant yes to something, only to later talk yourself out of it? Maybe you wanted to start a new business, switch careers, or take a leap into something exciting, but then you started overanalyzing. What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if people judge me? The more you let these thoughts take over, the more that initial certainty fades, and before you know it, you convince yourself not to take action. Think about the times in your life when you did listen to your gut. Maybe you took a job that felt right, even though it didn't make sense on paper, and it turned out to be the best decision you ever made. Maybe you met someone and instantly knew they would play a major role in your life. These moments aren't coincidences. Your subconscious mind is constantly picking up on patterns, experiences, and signals that your conscious mind may not fully process. When everything aligns and you get that deep feeling of this is right, it's not random. It's your intuition recognizing an opportunity before your rational brain can catch up. Trusting this instinct requires a mindset shift. Instead of constantly questioning yourself, start paying attention to those moments of clarity. The more you recognize them, the more they'll show up. Confidence comes from making decisions quickly and trusting that even if things don't go perfectly, you have the ability to adapt and figure things out. That's how leaders operate. They don't wait for certainty. They create it by taking action. The key is to stop waiting for permission and start acting on those gut instincts. When you feel an inner yes, move toward it before doubt has a chance to set in. When you get that deep knowing that something is meant for you, trust it. The people who achieve the most in life are the ones who follow their instincts even when logic doesn't have all the answers yet. They understand that intuition is a form of intelligence, one that often knows the right path long before the mind does. But just as important as recognizing when something is right is knowing when it's time to walk away. This is where most people struggle. They stay in situations long after their gut has told them to leave, whether it's a job that drains them, a business that no longer aligns with their values, or a relationship that has run its course. They hold on out of fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of making the wrong choice. But deep down, they already know the truth. When your gut is telling you it's time to let go, the worst thing you can do is ignore it. The longer you stay in a situation that no longer serves you, the more you drain your energy, your passion, and your potential. And the reality is, deep down, you always know when something isn't right for you anymore. It starts as a whisper, maybe just a nagging feeling that something feels off. Then over time, it gets louder. You feel unmotivated, uninspired, maybe even resentful. But instead of listening, you rationalize. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe I just need to try harder. Maybe I'm overthinking. Here's the truth. You can't force something that no longer fits. And the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to walk away. That's why the most successful and fulfilled people are the ones who trust their instincts, not just when something feels right, but also when it's time to move on. They don't waste years of their life stuck in situations that no longer serve them. They recognize when something has run its course and they take action. The fear of leaving something behind is natural, But the pain of staying in the wrong place for too long is far worse. If your gut is telling you it's time to move on, trust that it's guiding you towards something better. The next chapter of your life can't begin until you make room for it. Every time you walk away from something that no longer aligns with you, you open the door for something greater. This is how you build an extraordinary life. You trust yourself, you listen to your instincts, you move toward the things that excite you, and you walk away from the things that don't. The more you do this, the more your intuition sharpens and the faster you'll recognize when something is right or when it's time to let go. Your gut instinct is one of the most valuable tools you have. Stop doubting it, start acting on it. Your future depends on it. Your intuition is not some mysterious, unexplainable force. It's your brain processing information at an incredible speed, pulling from past experiences, emotions, and subconscious observations to guide you in the right direction. Many people dismiss their gut feelings because they can't logically explain them, but research shows that intuition is a real, measurable cognitive function. It's the reason experts can make rapid decisions with high accuracy. A firefighter can sense danger in a burning building before they see flames. A seasoned investor can predict a market shift before the numbers confirm it. A doctor can detect a serious illness even when tests are inconclusive. These decisions aren't made randomly. They come from years of accumulated experience that the brain processes instantly, producing a strong internal signal. But intuition isn't just for professionals in high-stakes environments. It's something we all have. The problem is most people don't trust it because they've been conditioned to believe that only logic and analysis should dictate their choices. While rational thinking is important, overanalyzing can lead to hesitation, self-doubt, and missed opportunities. The key to success in any area of life is learning to balance logic with intuition, knowing when to step back and think and when to trust your instincts and take action. One of the most fascinating things about intuition is how it operates beneath the surface. Your subconscious mind picks up on subtle patterns, body language, tone of voice, and environmental cues that your conscious mind may overlook. This is why you sometimes get a bad feeling about someone without knowing why. It's not paranoia, it's your brain recognizing inconsistencies in their behavior, perhaps micro-expressions that suggest dishonesty or nervousness. Similarly, when you have a strong positive gut feeling about an opportunity, it's because your brain has processed numerous details, past successes, personal strengths, external factors, and synthesized them into a simple, undeniable feeling of this is right. So if intuition is such a powerful tool, why do so many people ignore it? One reason is fear. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of uncertainty. Fear of going against conventional wisdom. When intuition tells you to take a leap, fear often convinces you to stay where it's safe. But the most successful people in the world didn't get where they are by playing it safe. They trusted their instincts and took decisive action. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is the ability to recognize intuition and act on it before self-doubt takes over. Strengthening your intuition isn't about rejecting logic. It's about training yourself to recognize and trust the signals your brain is sending you. One way to do this is through reflection. Think back on past situations where you ignored your gut and regretted it. What signs did you miss? What was your initial feeling before you overthought the decision? The more you reflect, the more you'll start to see patterns in how your intuition communicates with you. Another way to sharpen your intuition is by exposing yourself to new experiences. The more you step outside your comfort zone, the more information your brain gathers, and the better it becomes at recognizing patterns. This is why experienced leaders and top performers in any industry seem to make quick, accurate decisions. They've built a vast internal database of experiences that allows them to recognize opportunities and threats instinctively. Listening to your intuition also requires you to clear mental clutter. If you're constantly distracted, overwhelmed, or second-guessing yourself, it's harder to hear that inner voice. Meditation, mindfulness, and even simple moments of quiet reflection can help you become more in tune with your instincts. The clearer your mind, the stronger your intuition becomes. Perhaps one of the greatest benefits of trusting your intuition is how it speeds up decision-making. In a world where hesitation can cost you opportunities, the ability to make swift, confident choices is invaluable. The most successful people don't waste time stuck in indecision. They recognize when their gut is giving them a clear signal and they act on it. That doesn't mean they never make mistakes, but they understand that progress comes from movement, not endless analysis. Ignoring your intuition often leads to regret. How many times have you looked back and thought, I knew that wasn't right, or I had a bad feeling about that, but I didn't listen? On the other hand, when you do trust your gut, things tend to fall into place. You attract the right opportunities, make better choices, and avoid unnecessary setbacks. The more you listen, the more you'll realize that your intuition has been guiding you all along. You just need to stop doubting it. Intuition is a skill, and like any skill, it can be developed. The more you use it, the sharper it gets. The more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. It's not about abandoning logic or ignoring facts. It's about recognizing that your subconscious mind is processing more than you realize, and that the signals it sends you are worth paying attention to. The most successful people in the world have mastered this balance. And if you do the same, you'll find yourself making better decisions, moving forward faster, and creating a life that aligns with who you truly are. There are moments when something deep inside tells you that you're heading in the wrong direction. It's not always a loud warning. It can be a quiet discomfort, a nagging doubt, or an unexplained resistance to a situation. But instead of listening, most people push these feelings aside. They convince themselves they're overthinking, that they need to be rational, that they should give it more time. The problem is, ignoring your gut when it tells you something is wrong often leads to bigger problems down the road. Your subconscious mind is constantly processing information faster than your conscious mind can keep up with. It picks up on subtle patterns, body language, changes in tone, and even inconsistencies in someone's behavior that you might not logically notice. This is why you sometimes feel uneasy about a person or situation, even when there's no obvious reason. Maybe you've had that feeling when meeting someone new. Something about them just didn't sit right with you, but you brushed it off only to later find out they were dishonest or unreliable. Or maybe you were in a business deal that seemed great on paper, but something inside told you it wasn't the right move. If you ignored that feeling, chances are you later wished you had listened. One of the biggest dangers of ignoring your gut when it warns you is that small red flags tend to grow into major problems. The signs are usually there from the beginning, but if you dismiss them, they don't go away. They escalate. In relationships, this might mean staying with someone who repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, thinking things will improve with time. In business, it could mean working with a partner who doesn't align with your values, hoping they'll change, but they rarely do. More often than not, the feeling you had at the start was right all along. Ignoring these warning signs isn't just about external situations. It also affects your personal growth. When you force yourself to stay in an environment that doesn't feel right, you start losing confidence in your own ability to make decisions. You start second-guessing yourself, overanalyzing, and relying on outside opinions instead of trusting your own instincts. Over time, this can create a pattern where you feel stuck, unable to move forward because you've trained yourself to ignore your inner guidance. Trusting your gut when it warns you isn't about being paranoid or jumping to conclusions. It's about recognizing that your subconscious mind often knows the truth before your conscious mind catches up. It's about having the courage to act on that feeling before the situation becomes a bigger problem. If something doesn't feel right, take a step back and ask yourself why. Are there small signs you've been ignoring? Is there a pattern that feels familiar? Have you been in a similar situation before where you wished you had listened to yourself sooner? These questions can help you clarify whether your gut is giving you a real warning or if fear is clouding your judgment. There's a reason so many people look back and say, I knew something was off, but they didn't act on it. Sometimes it's because they were afraid of conflict. Sometimes it's because they didn't want to be seen as difficult. Sometimes it's because they were hoping they were wrong. But the truth is, your intuition isn't random. It's a powerful tool designed to protect you. The sooner you start listening to it, the more you'll avoid unnecessary pain, frustration, and wasted time. It's also important to recognize that gut feelings aren't just about avoiding bad situations. They're also about recognizing when something is truly right for you. When your instincts tell you something is wrong, it's often a sign that you're misaligned with your values, goals, or purpose. The good news is, listening to those feelings allows you to course correct faster. The sooner you acknowledge that something isn't right, the sooner you can shift your energy towards something better. This is why the most successful people trust their instincts. They don't waste time in situations that don't feel right. They don't convince themselves to stay in toxic relationships, bad business deals, or environments that drain them. They recognize when something isn't working and they make changes quickly. They trust that their intuition is guiding them towards something better, even if the logical reasons aren't clear yet. If you've been feeling stuck, frustrated, or uneasy about a situation in your life, take a moment to really listen to yourself. Have you been ignoring a warning sign? Have you been convincing yourself to stay in something that no longer serves you? Your gut already knows the answer. The only question is whether you're willing to trust it and take action, because the longer you ignore those inner signals, the harder it becomes to break free. But the moment you start listening and acting on them, everything changes. You move faster, you make better decisions, you create a life that actually aligns with who you are. Your instincts are there for a reason. They're not obstacles to overcome. They're the key to your success, your happiness, and your personal freedom. Start paying attention, start trusting yourself, and most importantly, start taking action before small doubts turn into major regrets. There are moments in life when everything seems fine on the surface, yet deep down, something doesn't sit right. You can't quite explain it, but there's a lingering sense of unease. Maybe it's a career path that looks good on paper but doesn't excite you. Maybe it's a relationship that appears perfect to everyone else, yet you feel emotionally disconnected. Or perhaps it's an opportunity that others would kill for, yet you feel hesitation instead of enthusiasm. This is your gut instinct telling you that something is missing. The problem is too many people ignore these signals, convincing themselves that they should be happy, that they should be grateful, that they should just keep going because things look good. But the truth is, when something doesn't feel right, it usually isn't. And the longer you ignore that feeling, the more disconnected you become from your true self. One of the most common reasons people ignore their intuition is the fear of change. It's scary to walk away from something that seems good, but doesn't feel right. It's easier to stay where it's comfortable, even if that comfort comes at the cost of deep fulfillment. People stay in jobs they don't love because they're afraid of the unknown. They stay in relationships that don't fully align because they fear being alone. They settle for mediocrity because stepping into the unknown requires courage. But what they don't realize is that by ignoring that inner voice, they are delaying their own happiness, their own success, their own purpose. The longer you pretend something is working when it isn't, the more you rob yourself of the chance to create something that truly fulfills you. Ignoring your gut can lead to a slow decline in passion, energy, and motivation. At first, it might just feel like mild dissatisfaction, small moments where you wonder, is this really what I want? But over time, that dissatisfaction grows. You wake up feeling uninspired. You go through the motions instead of feeling truly engaged. You lose the excitement you once had, and before you know it, you feel trapped in a life that no longer feels like your own. This is why so many people wake up one day feeling lost. They've spent years ignoring their instincts, convincing themselves that what they have is enough, only to realize that they've built a life that doesn't truly align with who they are. The mistake most people make is waiting for a breaking point before they take action. They wait until they're completely burnt out. They wait until they're deeply unhappy. They wait until the situation forces them to make a change instead of listening to the early signs and making adjustments before things get worse. But what if you didn't wait? What if, instead of ignoring your instincts, you trusted them from the start? What if you gave yourself permission to pursue what feels right instead of just what looks right? The most successful and fulfilled people don't wait until they hit rock bottom to course correct. They trust their gut the moment something feels off, and they take action before the situation escalates. Trusting your intuition doesn't mean making impulsive decisions. It means recognizing the patterns in your emotions, your energy, and your inner dialogue. If something consistently drains you, if you keep feeling resistance, if the excitement you once had has faded, these are not things to brush aside. They are signals that something is misaligned, and alignment is everything. When you are in the right place with the right people, doing the right work, everything flows. You don't have to force yourself to be motivated. You don't have to convince yourself to stay. You don't have to pretend to be happy. You just are. The hardest part of following your gut is that sometimes it requires you to walk away from things that seem good. Sometimes it requires you to let go of opportunities that make sense logically, but don't feel right emotionally. Sometimes it requires you to say no to what's expected of you so that you can say yes to what truly fulfills you. And that's not always easy. But the alternative, staying in a situation that doesn't align with who you are, will always be more painful in the long run. Think about the moments in your life when you felt the most alive, the most inspired, the most in tune with yourself. Those moments weren't accidents. They were the result of following what felt right, even when it didn't make perfect sense. And that's the key. Your intuition isn't always going to give you a step-by-step logical explanation. Sometimes it's just a deep knowing, a pull in a certain direction, a feeling that something greater is waiting for you if you're willing to take the leap. The question is, will you listen, or will you keep convincing yourself to stay in a life that doesn't fully align with who you are? The choice is yours. But if you want to create a life that excites you, energizes you, and brings you true fulfillment, you have to start trusting yourself. You have to start believing that your gut knows what's best for you, even before your mind catches up. Because deep down, you already know the truth. You already know what's right for you. You just have to have the courage to act on it. There are moments when an opportunity presents itself and something inside of you lights up. It's not just excitement, it's a deep, undeniable knowing that this is the right path. Your energy shifts, your mind races with possibilities, and everything in you says, go for it. But then doubt creeps in. You start analyzing, overthinking, questioning whether it's the right move. Maybe it's too risky. Maybe it won't work. Maybe you're not ready. Before you know it, that initial spark fades and you talk yourself out of something that could have changed your life. This is one of the most common ways people sabotage themselves, by ignoring the gut feeling that tells them when something is right. Instead of trusting that inner guidance, they let fear and logic take over. But the truth is, opportunities don't always come wrapped in perfect timing with every detail figured out. Sometimes they come as a quiet nudge, an unexplainable pull towards something greater. And if you hesitate too long, you risk missing out on something that could have propelled you forward in ways you never imagined. Think about the times when you've made quick, confident decisions that led to incredible results. Maybe you met someone and instantly felt a connection, and that relationship turned out to be life-changing. Maybe you took a leap on a business idea, even though you weren't completely ready, and it led to unexpected success. Maybe you said yes to an opportunity that scared you, but once you stepped into it, you realized it was exactly where you were meant to be. These moments weren't coincidences. They happened because you listened to your gut before doubt had the chance to stop you. Successful people understand this. They don't wait until they have every single answer before making a move. They trust their instincts and take action when something feels right, knowing that clarity comes from movement, not from sitting on the sidelines waiting for perfect conditions. They know that hesitation is the enemy of opportunity. The longer you wait, the more reasons you'll find to stay where you are. One of the biggest reasons people ignore their gut when something feels right is the fear of failure. They think, what if I make the wrong choice? What if it doesn't work out? But the real question should be, what if I never try? Because the only real failure is staying stuck, letting fear keep you from taking action, and looking back with regret at all the chances you didn't take. Every successful person has made mistakes. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has taken risks that didn't always work out. But they kept moving. They trusted that if something felt right, it was worth pursuing, even if they didn't have every answer up front. The challenge is learning to recognize the difference between fear and intuition. Fear will always try to keep you in your comfort zone, telling you to wait, to think more, to play it safe. Intuition, on the other hand, is a deep internal knowing that something is right for you. It doesn't come from panic or anxiety, it comes from alignment. It's that feeling of this is it before you even know why. The key is to move before fear takes over, before your mind starts coming up with 100 reasons why you shouldn't. Another reason people ignore their gut when something feels right is the fear of what others will think. They worry about being judged, about making unconventional choices, about stepping away from what's expected of them. But the truth is, no one else can feel what you feel. No one else has the same vision, the same instincts, or the same calling that you do. If something feels right to you, that's all the confirmation you need. You don't need validation. You don't need permission. You just need the courage to trust yourself and go after what excites you. When you look at the most fulfilled, successful people in the world, you'll notice they have one thing in common. They move fast when something feels right. They don't get stuck in endless deliberation. They don't wait for someone else to confirm their decision. They feel the pull, they trust it, and they take action. And because of that, they create momentum. They open doors that wouldn't have opened if they had hesitated. They step into opportunities that others missed because they were too busy second-guessing themselves. The truth is, life rewards action. The best opportunities won't wait for you to feel 100% ready. The right path won't always come with a guarantee. But if something in you is telling you to go for it, if your gut is screaming yes, that's all the reason you need. The faster you learn to trust those moments, the faster you'll move toward the life you're meant to live. So the next time something feels right, don't overthink it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't let fear win. Listen to your gut, take action, and watch how everything starts to fall into place.